Hello friends and enemies, welcome to or back to Happy For Now. It's me Isabel here with my Kindle Unlimited Check In of 2025, and honestly I'm okay with it because I've switched out quite a few books. I still have some things lingering, but for the most part we have a lot of newer titles switched in, and we also have some holiday books lingering, so I was like, we gotta do this now so it's done. But I've read a good bit. I read like 9 books total since the last check-in, I think, which was in November. Not mad about it. Because again, Read What You Own is also happening where I'm trying to read down my own titles, which means I'm also like balancing reading things off my KU and reading things off of here. So let's immediately dive into the books I've checked out and we'll go from there. First up, I still have The Marionettes checked out. This is by Katie Weismer. She is a booktuber and it's a series I'm interested in. One of y'all sold me on it in the comments and I do want to try it, and I will be trying it at some point. I'm probably going to do a try chapter in the next month or two with my KU titles to see what I'm interested and not interested in reading. Same thing here. I have Split or Swallow, which now has a physical release called Kiss of the Basilisk, and I do believe it's been broken up into 2 parts. So this book I've been curious about, and then I didn't even realize it had gotten picked up. So it got picked up and been split into a duet. So I'm not returning it until I try it and decide what I want to do. Then we have A Love Most Fatal. This is about a woman who is in the mafia, and the guy who likes her, who thinks is a kindergarten teacher or something. I need to read this. My contemporary slump, I'm not sure if it extends to like mafia books or not, so I might try it here sooner than later. Then we have The Alpha of Bleak Isle. This is a dragon romance. I love dragon books. Here we are. Then I have Last Light by Claire Kent, another one that has been lingering. It is dystopian, and I've just not, I think it's dystopian if I remember right. It's like darker. It's not that I'm not interested in it, it's that I'm like mentally not wanting dystopian either right now necessarily, but maybe I do. Maybe I actually do want that and I don't realize it, because that is very possible. Then we have Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillick. I'm hoping to read this honestly potentially in March, or honestly in February potentially, like in the next couple days. I really want to finish up this duology sooner than later. I really liked the first book. I need to read the second one. I got a little nervous about the sequel, like will it be good, will it not? But everyone's reassured me, I know, that's read it and was like, you're gonna like it. So I'm gonna dive in soon on that one. Then we have Threads That Bind Us. This is another dark mafia book. Again, I'm not sure if mafia falls into my contemporary slump right now or not, so it's hanging. Threads That Bind Us. This has pegging in it, I believe, but also is another dark mafia-y book situation. So I feel like I've just got to try. I've got to do a try chapter, truly. Make Room for Love. This is a sapphic rom-com situation. I have this checked out and it's one that I may return and just put on my KU wish list to go back to later, because I do want to read it and it sounds really, really fun. I believe one of them is an electrician and they're like helping each other out. It sounds really cute. I also have Saving the Beast. This is a college hockey romance, Beauty and the Beast retelling inspired. So book nip for me, right? Like I love that in a book. So it's kind of lingering as a like, I don't know what I want to read, I'm going to just pick this up situation. Sins and Snowflakes. There's one thing in this I want to read, and I need to read a little like newsletter snippet from it, and then I'm going to read the piece I want to read for this, which is the Kate C. Wells book, which follows the daughter from Run Posey Run, the kid that Dario and Posey have. So there's that. I also have North is the Night by Emily Rath. Again, fantasy romance. I'm not in the mood for fantasy romance, but I just finished a big reread for a live show, so I have to space my fantasy romances out. I can't necessarily back to back them. So like later this week I will be in the mood to pick up a fantasy romance, which maybe North is the Night. It might be Two Twisted Crowns. It'll probably be Two Twisted Crowns, so I can be done with that series, but still. Then we have Keeping the Mafia Boss. This is the sequel to Kidnapping the Mafia Boss, and I just want to try it. I don't know if I'll like it. I don't know if I'll finish it, but I checked it out because I forgot it came out. So I was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and put it on my checkout so I don't forget it came out the rest of the time. So I would like to try it because it's definitely one that I'm like intrigued by, but I'm also curious to see how it all goes, you know? Like I feel like it could be really fun. I feel like it could be not great and I'll DNF it. It really could go either way. This is another one I have here that is a recommendation from y'all, which is Incubus, Sex with Monsters short stories. These are like 25-page novellas about a sex worker hooking up with different monsters. I'm really intrigued and I really want to read these. I very likely will be reading these in the next vlog that I do, because these are just the kind of thing where I love a fun and quick short read like that. and it might be the perfect like palette cleanser, and or I'm gonna marathon them all and just finish the entire thing. Very possible. Next we have Close Knit. This is a knitter who lives in a house with a bunch of soccer players or football players. We have a Roy Kent inspired hero. I gotta try it. May read, I think most of it, if not all of it, and really enjoyed it. So I would like to also try it and see what I think. She said that I needed to give it a shot, but I think she does end up teaching the guys how to knit, which I think will be really cute. Then we have High Sticking the Heart. This is by a dark romance author I like. Her palette cleanser books are hockey books as well. And she wrote a hockey romance in between her darker books, and I love that, and I'm really excited to try it. I'm curious to see how it goes, because again, it feels like something I would like, but who knows? I really love her dark romances, so. Then we have A Rivalry of Hearts. I have the audiobook sequel to this on my Libro FM, so I need to read book 1 so I can listen to book 2. Or I'll listen to book 1 and read along. Who knows how I'll end up doing it. But I checked this out. This is supposed to be a really good fae rivals to lovers situation. I've only heard good things. A lot of people have said I would really like it, so I'm like fingers crossed, hoping that I do really like it and it does work for me. Next we have Holy Sinner. This is the sequel to the Darcy Dahlias. I don't remember what the first book was called, but I read the first book last year. I really enjoyed it. This is about 2 actors who are also serial killers and the author that they are both in love with. Again, another one I forgot the sequel came out, so I was like, we're checking this out so we can have it on our list and see it versus not seeing it and forgetting about it again. Next I've gotten By the Gator. This is the first book in a series I tried, which is the like Dating Monsters series that a bunch of different authors did. I don't know if this is gonna hang or if I'm even gonna read it. I read a book, which we'll talk about in a minute, off this list that's later in the series. It was fine. I didn't hate it, I didn't love it, so I'm just kind of waiting to see what I think as we get there. Next we have, and the last one I've checked out, I only have 19 books right now, y'all. I'm doing great, is The Heir. This is, I checked this out because it's a, like, kind of seems like a bonkers-ish billionaire romance, and I do love those. This is a biotech billionaire, and then book 2 follows his brother. Something about book 2 intrigued me, and I know I could probably read book 2 first, but I was like, we'll try book 1 and see if I like it, if I want to go back and read book 2 or not. But I'm intrigued enough. These are kind of taken off and been pretty popular. I don't think if I hadn't heard someone talk about it, the cover in any capacity would have ever drawn me in. So I'm really curious to see if it is a nice little surprise of a fun time for me. Now for the 9 books I have read off of KU in the last 3 months, basically. We're doing great. I'm doing great. I am reading things. I'm just not reading these things. I feel like I swing, like reading what I own, library books, all that. Like I swing all around the place from where I'm getting my books. So first up, I'm going to give you the rundown of the 4 I read for the Bonkers vlog in December. If you're interested, I'll link to that vlog down below for you. I'm not going to give too much detail. My theme was gingerbread men. So I read Cookies and Cream, The Baker's Wife, The Gingerbread Man, and Ravished by the Gingerbread Man. They were all bananas. They were kind of a good time. They were very silly. So if you're looking for that next season, maybe put them on your radar. Then I read My December Darling. This is a novella by Lauren Asher. So I say novella, I think it's borderline not a novella length, but for her it's a novella. This was a really cute romance between 2 people that kind of don't like each other. There's definitely dislike to lovers, and it was just really fun. I really enjoyed it. I felt like it had a fun Christmas theming. It wasn't overly Christmassy, so I do feel like you could read it off season and not be like, ugh, this Christmas book, because like it's Christmassy, but it's not like Christmassy. Does that make sense? Like, I know those are the same word twice, but it has Christmas themes. It's happening around the holidays. They're both doctors at the same hospital. And yeah, it's their romance. It was really sweet and fun. I really enjoyed it. And it gave me a good time. It just was a good time at the end of the day, all around for me. So I can't recommend it enough if you're looking for that. Then I read A Pack for Winter by Alana Lee. I had tried to read, and I liked it. I didn't dislike it. Her omegaverse, The Scent of Us. I liked the chapter I tried, but it's kind of dark, and I'm not in the mood for a super dark omegaverse, but I'm in the mood for like a white shoes situation. So I read A Pack for Winter, and I had a good time. This follows Ivy Winters. So she is a teacher, and she's applying for a grant, and the music teacher is also applying for a grant. And he actually backs out of applying, but he's had a crush on her and has been eyeing her for a minute since they moved to town. He has a beta. He's an alpha with a beta partner. And then there's an alpha that lives across the street from them that is the town's electrician. And they all 3 end up mated. And it's really fun. It has some interesting dynamics of Ivy needing to learn that like she's worthy of love and all these things, because like her parents and her whole family are all betas. So she wasn't around a ton of alphas and any of that dynamic. And then her ex, who was an alpha, was like a piece of shit. Like a piece of freaking work, y'all. He was terrible, and he does show up repeatedly in the book as like a villain of sorts. And like, it was just really fun, and it's chill. Very chill, and also very much like a regular people romance, which I've been enjoying a lot lately. So this was very regular people with omegaverse stuff in it. It was really fun. It was really cute. I do want to go back and read a pack for autumn at some point. And I think in 2026, is that in the end of the book, we're getting a pack for spring and summer. So we gotta wait till we get more of these. But I do think this one was really fun. It does have loose Christmas theming because it's set in winter, but it is not, again, overly Christmassy at all. You definitely could read it whenever you want. Next, I read Gaga for the Gargoyle. This was my members pick for last month, so for January. This was fine. This is a very just absolutely okay little novella. It is very insta-love and insta-lust, so it's not going to work for everyone. Do know that. It's not going to work for everyone because that insta-love, insta-lust happening. But our heroine and hero both end up with this app on their phone that is called Kismet, and it matches them. And she is older and fat, and like that was fantastic. Divorced, all of that was fantastic. I think it was one of those books that just needed like a smidge more editing, a little more tuning up of the story, but otherwise it was a pretty good time. It follows their romance, again, very insta-lust, very insta-lovey, hence the Kismet part of it. It's also short, so like it's kind of got to be that. We follow their romance and people trying to destroy him because they want to take over the city. So that was interesting. I felt like it was almost, I think what the issue for me mostly on this was it felt like too much plot packed into how short the book was. Like we needed to kind of like adjust down the insta-lust elements to better have time for the plotting. Next, I read A Tale of Two Cities, Valentine's Day novella. So Alexandria Warren has all these novellas set around different holidays. I think the next one I have on my list is Thanksgiving now. And then it'll be like New Year's and I'll be through the little mini series. These are really fun. I really loved the Valentine's Day one. So far it's my favorite. This one follows a girl who slides into the DMs of a basketball player and he decides to actually respond. He's never responded before in his life, but this time he's responding. And he responds and ends up flying her out to Miami for the weekend, and they have a fantastic weekend and great chemistry. It was just such a fun book. It was a fun time. She was very fun as a character and he was very fun as a love interest. All around, I had a great time. Cannot recommend this enough. I really liked the Halloween one too, but this one right now is definitely my favorite. So highly recommend if you're still in the mood for a short, smutty novella. Then I read Bass Ackwards. And this is one that was recommended to me like over 2 years ago by May over at This Past Romances / my besties mom, actually. She loves this book. This is a book that, as I say, starts off very wrong in the reviews. This starts off with our heroine negotiating with her boss for a day off. He doesn't know why. He doesn't ask questions. He's kind of known as an asshole around town and at work as the owner of the place that rents out like truck trailer things and like moving vans and different equipment. So he is known as an asshole around town, and he says, yeah, you can have that day off if you bend over this table. And she agrees to it. And then they enter into a negotiation where he can take an hour of her time every week, or he can bank the time, we later find out, and he bones her. They have a lot of sex. It's pretty steamy. There's not a lot of communication. I'm gonna tell you that right now. This book hinges on a lot of not communicating, but there's reasons why our heroine needs the money and agrees to this. And he also has been in love with her forever, we find out, as we're in his head more. And then he feels like an asshole, so there's some miscommunication around that, and then finally they come back together. Another romance that is very much just regular people, so that was kind of enjoyable. I think it's a book that, like, it starts off kind of dark and weird, but it's actually not that dark overall, so that's going to be a turn off for a lot of people. This is a book that I don't even know who to recommend it to. I gave it 4 stars. I had a good time. I knew going in it was going to be very, like, interesting, especially from reviews. And I think it's one of those books that if it works for you, it's really going to work for you. And if it doesn't, it's really not going to. If you're a dark romance reader and you think it's going to be really dark and twisty, it's not. And if you're a not dark romance reader, it might be too dark for you. So there's that, because that whole setup is a lot, right? Like that's a lot. That's a lot of a setup in my opinion. So I'm really curious to see how it goes for anyone else who's read it or tried it. But I had a good time. I really enjoyed it. I read it during our 24 and 48 and I really liked the romance. I really liked when we learned more about why our heroine needed the day off and what was going on. I thought that was really enjoyable to read. And overall, I just felt like we got to see them both work through some of their issues and learn to like get help when needed. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I had a fun time. And yeah, it's definitely just wrong or backwards a way to start a relationship. So there's that. But yeah, it was very unique. And I think that's honestly what I appreciate the most about it also is like, this is a very, very unique setup for a romance book for the genre it's in, for not being like a dark book. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. That's everything I've read. I'll be back in like 2 months, maybe 3. We'll see how much I read here and there to tell you more about all my KU picks. I would love to know your most recent KU checkout and return. Like, did you read it? Did you not? And then why did you check out the new book you checked out? If you don't do any of that, you can leave me a sunshine emoji because it is so sunny out right now and it's making me so happy because it was so overcast and rainy and gross yesterday. And then we have snow coming. So like I'm gonna pretend the sun is a good sign and not that snow's coming in a few days again. But yeah, so you can do that down below. If you want links to any of these books, I'll have those linked for you down there. Links to my friend anywhere on the internet that I am. And I will catch y'all in just a few days. Bye.
Already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be. Life with no distractions, we'll get away. This is what we waited for.